Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So if you can see in the center here on the sponge filter, that is an Amano shrimp eating a dead guppy endler hybrid. There's Java moss all over the place and in the way like strands, but you can see that shrimp is eating that dead fish. And the reason I am showing that is because I'm kind of wondering if that fish died of natural causes or if it was assassinated by the shrimp. I'm kind of suspecting that Amano shrimp can be fish assassins. So this is my 10-gallon guppy and endler hybrid tank, and this summer I got some Amano shrimp. I bought 10 Amano shrimp from Flip Aquatics. I got maybe 11 or 12 when I received the package, and I got them because I was having ongoing hair algae problems in this tank. And since I've had them, I've pretty much been, for the most part, I've been disappointed with them. You know, I got them for a purpose to eat algae, and you know, I mentioned before that they have not lived up to the hype as algae eaters. Every time I do a water change, and I just did one yesterday, I pull out hair algae. There's still some in here, like mostly there's like a lot of tangled up in here with Java moss, ricciofluitans, and hair algae. But I pulled out a big clump of it in here, but it, you know, I can't really get all of it out without pulling all the plants out. And you know, the Java moss is getting overgrown again too. I pulled that out often, but I'm kind of running out of, I don't really have any place to put it anymore, so I didn't really pull too much out of it last water change. But well, anyway, you know, I got the Amano shrimp because you know, they're the best algae eaters supposedly, and I do still believe that they are, but I think that would be when they are hungry enough that they don't have other food sources that they're gonna eat algae. And this tank, you know, whenever I feed the fish, I see the Amano shrimp eating the fish food, and I suspect that they're also eating the fish, because I don't see as much guppy fry anymore, like the guppy endler hybrid fry. You know, there's less that grow up, and every so often I'll look in this tank, you know, I'll recognize fish as individuals, and then I'll look through the tank and notice that some of them, the fish that I've known as individuals, have disappeared. For instance, I had a guppy and endler hybrid that, you know, some of them look more like endlers and some of them look more like guppies. I had one that looked like a guppy that had this awesome ribbon tail pattern, and it was, you know, perfectly fine and healthy, and just out of nowhere it disappeared. I mean, I know, you know, fish do die. It's, you know, just that's inevitable in the fish keeping hobby, and you know, shrimp will eat dead fish, but I'm wondering, I'm suspecting that they are snatching up live fish and killing them. I mean, I have heard along the way, I don't remember where or by who, But in my mind, I remember it being mentioned that Amano shrimp can be like ninjas, described as ninjas. So I'm thinking, you know, they might be like, they could be like ambush predators and fish. You know, I don't know. That is, you know, it is speculation. I've never seen it, but I'm thinking could be what's happening. I suspect that they, you know, I suspect that they're fish assassins. And, you know, for now, you know, keeping them in this tank, you know, that was the main purpose, to eat the hair algae. But looking back, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done things differently. And I think going forward at some point, for now, you know, they're going to stay in here, but I think at some point in the future, and, you know, I intend to be in the fish keeping hobby for, you know, essentially the rest of my life. So looking ahead, I imagine keeping Amano shrimp in a separate tank by themselves and not feeding them, and just if I have like plants with algae, I'll just throw them in their tank so they can be hungry and eat algae, and then clean up plants, and then I can move the plants back to other tanks. You know, that's what I intend to do in the future. But, you know, for now, they're just going to stay in here and do not as good a job eating algae. And, you know, it's also possible that the algae could be much worse without them. So maybe they're, you know, still doing a good job, and I just don't know, because they're not doing a complete job as I, you know, figured that they would. I know when I first got them, I was pretty excited right away, because I did on these Anubias leaves, had like some fuzzy green algae, not hair algae, but some other maybe green spot algae. I'm not sure what it was, but, you know, right away they were like picking off that algae and like cleaned up some of the leaves. And, you know, I do see them moving their little hands when they're in the plants, like in the Java moss that has like hair algae all tangled in it, and, you know, maybe they're picking away at the hair algae, but, you know, they don't, you know, they're described as algae eating machines, and, you know, that would lead one to believe that they would, you know, a dozen or so of them in a 10-gallon aquarium would clean up all the algae within it. But that hasn't been the case. But yeah, so that's what I suspect, that they are fish assassins. And I wonder, you know, has anybody out there had any experience with Amano shrimp? Do you suspect the same thing, or do you know that they have killed live fish? Let me know in the comments if you know, because, you know, like I said, right now it's all speculation, but if somebody can confirm that, or, you know, if I ever see it happen myself, if they're go after a live fish, I don't know. But, you know, another thing too, like these, I have a Neocaridina shrimp tank, a cherry shrimp tank, and I do like those. You know, it did take a little bit of, I wasn't sure about shrimp right away, because for one thing, I hate bugs. And I hate the, you know, just their legs, little creepy crawly legs, and, you know, shrimp just make me think of like the water version of bugs. Like Amano shrimp are just that much bigger than cherry shrimp, so that they are kind of, in my mind, creepy looking, and, you know, where don't have like aesthetically colorful, you know, like red colors like cherry shrimp might have. So they're, you know, really as good looking, and you know, like I said, if I knew then what I knew now before I bought these, I would have rather just put some cherry shrimp in this tank, because my cherry shrimp population is expanding in my 3.5 gallon Neocaridina shrimp tank, and I want to spread those out to other tanks. And I still might put some cherry shrimp in here with these Amano shrimp, but then I'm wondering if that would be a good mix, if kind of thinking that the Amano shrimp might kill the cherry shrimp. So I mean, I may just still try it, see what happens, but yeah. Alright. Well, while we're here, let's check out some of the cool looking guppy endler hybrids. So we have, you know, these type here that look like yellow cobra endlers. We have those that are like black bar endlers with like split tails, and then there's these that have look more like guppies. I mean, they have like endler kind of patterns with like sort of like a black bar, but a guppy tail. And that's, you know, it's cool looking, more like a guppy tail, but like a endler body. There's one that's like kind of a guppy tail with kind of a half endler, half guppy type color pattern. The females. Some of the females have, you know, color in their tails, and some are colorless, like endlers. All of these originated from one female guppy and one male endler, and that male endler, the original father, is still one of these, I think. Yeah, this one right there. That's the original father. I want to point out something else too. So see this one right here? See how it kind of has like a growth on the bottom of it? If you remember, or not, but a while back, the one time I used a breeder box in this tank, I was experimenting. I put pregnant females in a breeder box because I wanted to see like how many babies they would have. And that first time that I ever used a breeder box, the female had conjoined twin babies, Siamese twin fry. And that, I was just thinking of that today because I just saw a video from Mark Shelley Aquatics, I think his channel is called, and he, in his breeder box, he had a guppy that had conjoined twin guppies. It was like two bodies that were attached. So when I had some that I found in that breeder box, like there was one that had two bodies sharing one head, and there was another one that had, it was still like one body, but it was on its head, it was like two heads, like one whole head, and one that was like partially developed, so it looked like it had 3 eyes. Well, it did have 3 eyes, but it looked like it was like one head with 3 eyes, even though it was like one head and a partial other head. So there's a couple in here like this one that has that growth, so I'm thinking that might be from like a partial Siamese twin growth. That, I mean, otherwise it grew up to an adult and has that growth, but the other, I'm thinking that might be a partial Siamese twin that didn't develop. Because I do remember seeing it as, you know, a juvenile growing up, and there's a female that kind of has like this one right here. So they didn't just develop growths, like they've had that since they were young. I think that's what that is. It's kind of weird. But yeah. All right. Let's take a look at the. I just put a root tab in here for this jungle val. It's not really doing too good anymore. I put some in here. It was like sent some runners, but it's just not growing tall. There's a little piece over here. Yeah, I haven't had much luck. I mean, jungle val it's supposed to grow to the height of the tank and like hang over and grow tall, but I haven't had success with it in that sense. But yeah. All right. That's enough rambling for now. And remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishies. Thanks for watching.